Pathmark is the AI for website conversions. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmark qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intros, videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by more than 50%. Add Pathmark to your website in seconds, let the artificial intelligence do all the work, increase conversions by 50% while you keep doing marketing as usual. Check us out on pathmark.com. All right, everyone, welcome to today's episode. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Tom Coffing from Coffing Data Warehousing. Good to have you on today's show, sir. How's it going?
Great, Rick. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, we were talking just a second ago offline, and I just wanted to know a little bit more about your company, but I wanted to wait to hit record, right? So I can hear it in your own words and we can share with the audience. So in your own words, what's the art of what your company does, and how would you describe it to someone new?
I've been on a 50-year journey, IT business, programmer, operator of computers, and teacher. And 30 years ago, I started Coffing Data Warehousing, and we did training. We trained 1,000 different companies around the world on their Teradata systems. And I began writing books, and then I've written 90 books. I moved on from Teradata, and I did it on every system. So I've trained on every database. Now, my company, what is so brilliant about it, so brilliant that Microsoft OEM'd our software for 3 years because they wanted to give it to their customers. I've been on a project for 20 of those years to build the greatest software in the IT industry that works on every system, migrates data between every system, converts table structures and the DDL between them all in seconds, and allows our customers to join data across all systems as if every system was one. It was once thought impossible, Rick. We're the company that did that. And we're so excited about it. 20 years on this project. And now we have an offer where we allow customers to put the power of accessing data into the fingers of everyone. And we've automated the most difficult task. Almost looks like AI, but it's not. It's just experience where now people can do things they never thought they could do before. And it's so exciting to be onto something that's this relevant. It's taken 20 years on this project to produce this.
It's a long time coming, right, Tom? It sounds like, you have the right energy, and it sounds like an awesome project. And I'm curious, what kind of businesses would this help the most? What kind of industries do you feel you're able to serve the best? Is there a core problem that you solve for them? And then, what can they expect when they come to you?
Well, we have a lot of federal contracts in the government here in the United States. We have a lot of state contracts because anybody who has a lot of database platforms out there, this is perfect for. So insurance and financial is a skyrocketing market for us because they all have databases that are traditional like Oracle and DB2 and SQL Server and Teradata, but they're now moving to the cloud. So they're going to Databricks and they're going to Snowflake, Yellowbrick, Vertica, Amazon Redshift. Any of these companies with a wide variety of these systems, and any user who has access to more than 5 systems is in heaven with our product, because not only can they query them all, they can do things like drag an answer set to any system, and it creates a table so they can put things in their sandbox without doing almost anything other than clicking and dragging. They can migrate 1 or 1,000 tables between any system, which usually takes 6 months, now takes 6 seconds, and they can query them all and integrate that data. So There's no boundaries to what they can do. It's great when you have one platform that you're querying because of all the brilliant features we've added for 20 years listening to these customers. We've had the largest customers in the world for about 15 years. But when you have a wide variety of systems out there, that's it. And that was really the epiphany that I had, Rick. I worked with every database vendor, and it finally said one day, oh my goodness, there's going to be so much data out there. It's going to be so valuable that people are going to want to store this on a bunch of different systems. No one system can hold it all. I'll put the power into the hands of every user, IT person, business user, to where they can just point and click and integrate and access this data faster than it's ever been done before.
Okay, that's exciting. And you mentioned that you've had customers, large companies with you with more than 15 years. I think that speaks to the quality of the work you've done, right? Because that's not so common nowadays to retain large companies, especially for that long, right? And so, props to you for that. And I'm curious. So let's say I'm an IT person. I work with complex data systems, right? How would I find out about you? And I guess in that sense, how does your audience typically find out about you?
With 90 books out there, people have usually gone to Netezza and read my Netezza book, or Snowflake and read my Snowflake book. So they understand that. But the biggest thing I've done, Rick, is I have put out blogs on the most important subjects that IT people look up. For example, date functions. Anytime you go to a new database, joins work up very similar, and the selects work similar, but it's the date functions that people have so many problems with. So I put out blogs, okay, on every database. Here are all the date functions in easy to understand, usable fashion, so they look that up. And here's 100,000 examples of formatting a date or a timestamp on each one of these systems. I also do every analytic on every system. So every single day I look up on my website who visited, and I get sometimes 4,000, 5,000 people that have visited just looking up those blogs. So it was important for us to drive people to the website where they could see Nexus, realize they can download this tool, see examples and videos of it, and which we put in every blog as well. So for us, we want to add value, and that's why these people are looking us up, because of these brilliant blogs.
Right. Okay, makes sense. So it's an education piece that might lead them to then visit your website and then get in touch and become a client eventually, right? So, okay, interesting. So in terms of your website, actually, let's stay on that topic. How important do you think it is when it comes to attracting clients? Besides the blog, obviously, which I understand it's a big chunk of it, but your website in general, do you feel it has any standout strengths or maybe even areas that could be improved for client acquisition?
I think we always are trying to improve this, and we've got a nice, beautiful look and feel to it. It's not too aggressive. It's got probably 1,000 blogs that people love to see. It's got hundreds of videos. It's got books. So I think you're 100% correct. For us, this is the engine that runs everything in our business nowadays, because we're reaching out to so many different people via email, which drives them to the blogs on the website to watch the videos. And people are stunned when they come here and they go, I've never seen anything. Did you just do a 20 table join across 20 systems and change where it would be processed? And I just saw the SQL change, the table structures change. No one has even come close to developing this. It's almost a little shocking for them, because we're 5 years ahead of where they'll probably need to be.
Okay. So you look back with everything. Yeah. Okay. I would agree with that. Is that anything you've learned about your website, or maybe even in general, that makes it a great converting website. I don't know if you have many, tools, tips, approaches that you can recommend for our audience. Say, guys, this is what works for us. Go and try it out.
What works for us is very unique. We have software out there that at least tells us who visited. So we see who visited each and every time. So when we send out emails or we put out these blogs, and it's really fascinating, when we put out these blogs, we don't get as much traffic, but it takes Google a while to crawl these sites. And then all of a sudden we just go, oh my goodness, we are getting everybody under the sun coming look at these date blogs. And then you go, I'm going to put these analytic blogs out there. And then all of a sudden, that's not nearly as much as the date blogs. And all of a sudden, it's about 50-50. So you got a chance to build a website, track it, and provide the kind of content that IT people need. In one way, Rick, it's easy because we're all in IT. We need to know certain information about Snowflake or Databricks or the differences or Teradata. We need this information. So in a way, it's easy to get those, but it's very difficult because these people are smart. They're coming to your site. They better get what they want. And these people just return time after time. I've got some major companies that have been to my website looking at the same things 300 times. So
wow,
realize, hey, we're on track to this. Otherwise, you're kind of guessing.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah, can you mention maybe any of the tools you use for that? Or
I do. I've got a tool called Lead Forensics that tracks every single person that comes to the site, and it's really nice to be able to check that out. Of course, there's all kinds of videos for YouTube. I've got a YouTube presence as well. That's really important now. You're getting thousands of people looking at those videos. If you're going to be in this business, you've got to really cover all aspects. You've got to send out email. You've got to have outreach. You've got to call. You've got to hit LinkedIn. You've got to hit Facebook. You've got to hit all kinds of social media, and you've got to add content. You've got to provide books that are extremely valuable to these people, almost like, oh my goodness, I can really do my job. It's very complicated, but that's really my advantage. It took me 2 years to write my first book. It was 85 pages. Rick, that's like a sentence a day. The next book was bigger. It took me another 2 years with a partner of mine who was my best friend. And it took 2 years, my goodness. Then I started writing him in 3-4 months, and now I can write him in a couple of weeks. That was my advantage. I am the only person maybe in this industry with 50 years experience that is an expert on the architecture, the underlying engine of every single major database and every SQL command they have. So it's that technical expertise that drives people to say, Tom, I can learn from you. And the fact that you've built a product, wow, we know you were the best teacher in the world. We felt like you were the best author technically in the world. Wait a minute. Why did you take on a project that would compete with Microsoft and Oracle and Snowflake and Google? I go, because I felt like I had the experience. They're all after, Google's after their BigQuery stuff, and Amazon's after Redshift, and, Snowflake's for Snowflake. I'm the only one that's put something together that works equally as well on every database system. And believe me, it was not easy. 20 years, Rick, on one project. When's the last time you spent a year on a project? 20 years of grinding, and it's paying off. The vision is coming to fruition for us.
That's awesome.
Head over heels.
That's really good. And let me tell you why I think that's impressive. So there's so many people with knowledge out there, right?
Sure.
You have plenty of people with knowledge. The difference is that people like yourself, they put that to use, right? So you wrote books. You've been prolific over the years, sharing that knowledge, which consolidates it, makes it, even stronger, and puts you out there as an authority in the field. And if more people were to do it, I think that would be great, because we have more knowledge in general, more people, more that will be more informed, would have more progress in general in the software industry, in any industry really. So I think that's what sets you apart from the others, is that you have this resiliency of working on what you like, because I'm sure this is your life's passion. Otherwise, you wouldn't have spent so long on it. And yeah, I mean, that's impressive. So congratulations of course. So I actually wanted to switch gears a little bit and talk about you as a leader. So I'm curious, Tom, what are the key tasks that you focus on a day-to-day? What makes it so exciting for you?
Well, for me, as a small business owner, I'm responsible for the design of the product. So I talk to my people who develop it all the time. That's my biggest love. But then I start to get out there and I start putting out the blogs. I start promoting on social media with the varying videos. I'm talking to customers. I'm doing demos. I've really tried to master everything from video creation to how to write these blogs. So I do different things every single day. And it really is, it just depends on what happens. Sometimes you just got to shift priorities in a heartbeat. That's what makes my job so exciting. Dealing with so many different customers, and providing, still teaching classes, Rick. So, I taught a Tableau class last week. So, the hardest part about what I've done is getting over the fear. Everybody learns one system. That's why we did it 20 years ago. And then they were experts on that. And it's going to take another 10 years to learn another one. It was hard for me to go from just Teradata and then Netezza and Greenplum, SQL Server. And as I started to do it, the fear came away because I realized architecturally, there's only two types of systems. Those with heavy indexes like Teradata and Greenplum and Azure Synapse and DB2 and in SQL Server. And then there's load and go systems. They use a metadata strategy. It's brilliant. You just load data and it's already ready to be tuned. It's tuned automatically. And that's places like Yellowbrick and Vertica and Amazon Redshift and Snowflake and BigQuery. The more you push yourself, the more you realize how similar they are. And that was the magic moment for me. And that's what's been why I've been able to go in any direction that a customer needs.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I can tell you spend a lot of time on this. By the way you talk about it, right? It's like you're painting a masterpiece, right? It's not just data. It's much more than that. I mean, that's at least what I hear from you.
I love the way you're putting that because it is so technical. You can't, when people see the Nexus and it's doing these 20 table joins, they start going, let me ask you some real technical questions. And as they ask them, they go, oh my gosh, you guys thought of everything. They go, oh yeah. We've been around, okay? And at the same time, it's mostly about what you're talking about. It's the beauty of the look and feel of the screen, the ease, the ability to let the customer say, I want dark mode. I want to change it to iris green. I want the background to be this. I want things to be automated for me this way. So every single user goes, I have total control of this painting or masterpiece. So yeah, we painted the picture, but we allowed you then to say, this is the artwork that I want to work with every single day. And that was not easy either. It's just an iterative process of getting something out that's basic and then improving it and then talking to customers and then using your own vision. And they go, so gosh, did this start just yesterday? I go, it seems like it. But now, 20 years, if I would have known it was going to be this hard, Rick, slap me. Why didn't somebody physically stop me? That's what I want to know. Okay. But now that it's here, I go, this is exciting. We've done it.
Yeah. That's great. I'm loving that. Well, Tom, okay, since we're coming to the end of the interview, I would love to jump into our rapid fire questions. So just a bunch of questions, but only short and crisp answers are needed. You ready?
You got it.
All right, Tom. What's the last book you read?
Snowflake Architecture and SQL.
If there were no limits with technology, what's one thing you'd love to solve that will make your life easier as a leader?
You know what? I just want to do exactly what I'm doing, and that is have people access any system like they're all one. People still to this day go, look, if there's boundaries, I got to be on this system and I got to be on this system. There should be a way to secure the data so people can only see the data that they're supposed to, but no boundaries. One day, Rick, I believe, just like you would Google something and see this information, you'll be able to go get data from any system and you won't know or care what database it came from because of AI and products like Nexus.
Awesome. If you could automate one thing you find yourself doing over and over and over every day, what would it be?
It would be putting out social media to the places that I need to. It would be just so nice to press a button because it takes an hour to put all this stuff out. It really is a little bit tedious and monotonous.
Fair enough. So last one, looking back, Tom, if you could give advice to yourself when you were first starting out, say you go back 20 years, right? What would be the main piece of advice you give yourself?
I give myself two pieces of advice. You know, you can trust me to your dying day. And I trusted people a little too much, and I should have been a little bit more, get that contract signed before we do this. And I would have hired better. People say, I'm a hard worker and I want to do this. And I go, well, let's give you a chance. I needed to do a better job there because I just made too many mistakes along. If I look back at the negative part of Tom Coffing, I got to make every daggone mistake there is. If somebody said, watch out, there's a bear trap over there, I'd step in and go, oops, I forgot what you said. But I never make the same mistake twice, and I always learn from it. I'm the most flexible, coachable person that there is. I think I've made too many mistakes along the way.
Okay. But you worked on it, right?
Always. Now, you don't get hired here till you are just absolutely a superstar genius with experience and references.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, what a way to close. Look, Tom, I want to thank you for being on the show with us today. And I also want to give you the last word. So if someone forgets everything about the interview today, what is the one thing they should remember about your company?
Our company is Silicon Valley, all right, for small businesses. We've competed against the largest companies in the world, and they're 5 years behind our technology because we're the ones 20 years ago that had the dream that you will be able to query every system, join data across every system, migrate to and from every system. When it comes to data, you might think about Microsoft or Snowflake or Google, and you are really hurting yourself because Coffing Data Warehousing is 5 years ahead of them when it comes to the user on the desktop getting results and answers from these databases.
Perfect. What a way to close. All right. Thanks again, Tom. Also to have you on the show today.
Great seeing you, Rick. Thank you so much.
Likewise. Bye, everyone.